didn't do that for politics. You did it because you wanted to do the right thing. But I tell you, it sure as hell worked for politics too. It's
All right.
self-preservation. That's right.
So Trump's talking
You know,
to
because the people are demanding it. The people
talking
of
to a small
Texas
group
are
of people
demanding
after the
it. The people are
inauguration,
demanding it all over
and
the world.
it's his like special little
He
convoy of
built it,
people that
and
have been his
they wouldn't
biggest
let
supporters.
us use it. They wouldn't let the governor
And
use
he's
it. They
talking to
wouldn't let
Abbott,
use it.
our
Wouldn't let
governor of
him use it.
Texas.
But he
Trump
was the
is,
leader of the
and
pack,
talking about
and
the
he
border.
did a great job. And then when it
And he
about
was they're talking about they built 500 miles of border his first term, and they were going to build, and they built an extra 200. They're going to put an extra 200 feet miles in, but our Biden and them canceled that extra 200 and then sold the material for pennies on the dollar that our taxpayer dollars paid for. So they're talking about that and how good of a job Abbott's done with trying to fight the illegals coming through. When you look at the Texas border, it's an invasion of people coming across. We've gotten people from just last week. We had a person from around Russia that was a military op guy that was supposed to be like a sniper or something like that. I can give you the data later. But we've had different high profile people coming through the Texas border. So it's becoming more and more and more and more serious of the type of people coming across. It's not your people trying to come up from Mexico or there's South America or Guatemala or wherever trying to come up and just work. You got people coming up for the wrong reasons. And that's the people we're worried about. And so Trump wants to take that on. And so they're talking about building that wall.
in Fortune magazine, they put it as the deal of the year. Okay, you buy something like that, but it was so corrupt and so horrible. And when we told that to the administration, they didn't care. They just kept going
So
forward.
on these inauguration, now this is the first time I've seen this news coverage because we got YouTube and different people post, have different sites.
What if they told me 50, 60 cents? Who knows?
Yeah. So
So for scrap metal,
but you have your inauguration, and then afterwards they go back, and sometimes they get busy, or they talk about to the small group of people. Usually that small group of people, if it's, I don't know about this one, but usually it's ones that spend a lot of money to the campaign or done something special for the campaign that the president will go back and meet afterwards.
he's pushing out pretty good by people, right? He said,
Went back to
you got a
Abbott.
great attorney general. They should leave him alone. He was with me. But Ken and the governor went to court, and a judge actually became incensed and actually called for an investigation. How could a thing like this happen? So he stopped it. So we're waiting to put that wall up. And now that you have a new president, that wall will go up so fast.
So they're talking about under Biden when Abbott was putting certain pieces of the wall up, that Biden sued uh, Abbott to stop the building of certain pieces of the wall, whatever excuses they
Too
made.
much, please. People always love that word. We'll do this with the wall. Governor Abbott calls, Sir, the wall is going up too fast. We can't take it. We just can't take it. No, I think you'll be very happy if the wall goes up too fast, right? But we'll get that dude and we'll work with you on that. But it was a great decision by a great Texas
So,
judge.
what are you going to do for the next 4 years
Beautiful to
for
watch. He just
America
stopped
to make
truck.
this
They were literally loaded
his
with stuff in
proposals
the truck.
or his bring America to life? Um,
So I'm so glad I
what are you
mentioned
going to
that
do to help that happen? That's
Texas.
something that I think
And I
about.
swear I didn't know he was.
I try to help
I
and do
swear to
things with
God,
the last administration,
I didn't
and
know you were. I get lucky.
you
I
met
sat there right there.
hardships all the
So there
way.
have been moments when I was
So it's going to be
so
interesting on who all will get on the bandwagon or who all will
So
group
anyway, it's good
together
to see you too,
and
Governor. Great.
even in your everyday life and just put the best foot forward to make this
So crazy.
work.
But this has been
It's a
a long
thought, right?
journey. This was a journey that started in 2015, probably started 20 years before that. People
See if
used
he
to
has
say,
anything else to say. You're here.
you gotta run, run, run. And I always said, no, no, no. And then one day I said, let's give it a shot. And what I talked about then was the border.
His hardcore followers love to listen to him talk. They like him, his storytelling, his weaving, his way to
And now I talk about the
tell a
border, but this
story.
border is much
Um,
worse. We fixed the border.
it's kind of long-winded, but if you can stick with him,
By the way, that election was totally rigged, but these are that's
uh-oh,
okay. It was a rigged election.
rigged election,
You know, the
2020.
only thing good about it, it showed how bad they are, showed how incompetent, and frankly, historically, this is a much bigger event if that would have gone like it should have. And the bad thing about it is some bad things happen, like a lot of people in our country that wouldn't be in our country right now. So, that's the bad part. But I will say that it started in 2015, and right from the beginning, went to the top. The
Shout out to
day
Bucky.
one, they announced Trump, and Trump went to number one and stayed there for the whole primary. And then we took on Hillary. She didn't look too happy today. We took on a very nice person, but we took on Hillary and we defeated Hillary, and then we did much better.
For researchers like myself who did work with their dissertation or their articles and publications looking at the demographics of elections, I have been studying elections before Obama. And so in my what do you call undergrad work, and then when I got to my master's level and then got to the PhD level, I was working on stuff dealing with Obama and his presidencies and different the elections of 2012, 2016. And what we know, and looking at the patterns of the voting demographics, you have a certain number. We already know different data sets. We already know kind of sort of who's coming to be 18 years old to be able to vote. We know the different groups are aging out. You know all these different things of the how many people pass away and all these different things. Well, under the 2020 election, you had 20 million people that just appeared, and all of a sudden you just had this group of voting block that just appeared without
A very respected gentleman asked me
without that known piece of the puzzle. Like we didn't see it coming, and so it was out of the what do you call it? Just out of the blue, just boom, and we had all this data that's like, oh, where'd this come from? And so you could see when you're tracking the data on the graphs, and then around 3 a.m., boom, that the blue shoots up, but yet the red stays constant like the years past, the rise that we figured it would turn out. But the blue shot straight up and had this weird graph. And so
and they didn't show that. And then when the election
that because my shirt.
vote came, and it was much different, much higher, then we're going to win. But they really thought, they couldn't believe the one man said, I mean, it was so much higher. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, which is hard for a Republican. I'll tell you who came through. The unions came through. The auto workers were great. The Teamsters were great. The firemen were great. I think almost every union was great. The only one that weren't great, although Shawn was great, and
Well, see, I tried helping, and so that's one of those things that were things you never know.
the union was against Trump, but the union would be with us for like 85%. Look what we did with the auto workers in Michigan. Look what we did with the Teamsters. The Teamsters were unbelievable. They were a solid Democrat vote, and they voted for Trump. So we had a great experience. This has been, now we have to go to work and get it done because we have to do something that's going to be great. We're going to turn on
They have to actually show up and do what they say they can. That is very hard to get.
This was a better speech than the one I made upstairs. Okay.
It's very hard for a president to get his whole agenda done. And the last time when President Trump was president, he got 90% of what he said he would do done, and everything he said he would do
You know what that
rocked
means
out.
with him? He's going to be calling me tomorrow morning at about 6. I said, next week, you call me and we're going to get it started real fast. We'll really help you a lot. You've done a fantastic job
I'd love to
protecting
be
something
this.
because it's not supposed to be for the states. And amazing job you've done. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody. Uh, and I have a first lady who's been incredible. I shouldn't say this.
Oh,
I'm going to
there you
get
go.
when I say this, but her feet are absolutely aching. You know, those heels.
Oh, I figured he'd say they were gorgeous.
We thought we were leaving. We were going home. Sir, would you be able to go down and say hello to some of your other fans that are here? I said, oh, I didn't know that. Well, did you get to see pretty clearly the picture, I hope? Good. That's good. But because you wouldn't want to make the same.
On the right side of the screen, they're showing the Air Force One
No,
taking the Biden family
but my feet are killing.
to, I think, California.
He said, honey, let me just see how far it is. I asked the person. Oh, not that long, maybe 400 or 500 yards. That's 5 football fields. I said, can you make it? She said, we're going to make it no matter what. We're going to make it because we have the concern.
shaking her head.
And then we went out to the helicopter though, just prior to this and said goodbye. And it's a custom. And the wind is blowing like crazy. And with the hat that she's wearing, she almost blew away. We almost lost our.
Almost lost her hat.
She was being elevated off the ground. She almost blew away. No.
1 mile
So
from the
we
house.
all appreciate it.
2 miles.
You've been a great first lady, a beautiful and a great person. And they love our first lady. You know, JD, whenever I make a speech, I see hundreds of friends. We love our first lady. We love, and they do, and they should. She's great. So I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to thank everybody. And I felt that I said to JD, should we give him the A treatment, the B treatment, the C, the D, or the F? You know what the F is? Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Bye bye. I gave you the A plus treatment. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Governor.
I'll explain something here in a minute. Okay, so typically when they have inauguration, then you have several balls set up, and each one has a variation of how much you paid. So you'll have dinner plates, right? They have dinner parties. I call it a ball, but you have like a dinner party or a ball, and they'll go, anywhere from $2,500 a plate, anywhere from 10 grand, 20 grand, 25 grand a plate. And so these are some of his fans, and I don't know, they got the A plus treatment right after the inauguration. So one could assume that these were either big donors, and it looks like it's a big congregation from Texas with Abbott, and then others. And so I would imagine those people were big contributors to his campaign that he came out and saw um, right now. And then from here, typically what they do is they'll go into gear and they'll start their partying of their dinner parties, and they'll start going to them in a little bit after they do whatever else they're going to do next. Typically, they'll go to the inauguration, get sworn in, go back. He did this first, it looks like, but then they'll go back and start doing some day one executive orders and start giving out instructions on how to proceed. Let's see if they're talking on here before I let you
New
go.
President of the United States.
Excuse me. So it's kind of neat on how um, I don't know. I've witnessed during the first Trump uh, inauguration was cool. Obama's was neat, where there seemed to be some buzz. The first election of a president typically has a lot of buzz. If there are what do you call it, consecutive terms, typically the second term's kind of a little bit more boring or a little bit more um, laid back, or what do you call it, not as hyped up. But since Trump had what do you call it, a divided presidencies, then there's more. Uh, Yeah, he's going to go sign some executive orders. So there's more hype on it, of course, with all the drama and too with the 2020 election, COVID, and uh, all the different stuff that's happened with them going after him and things. So it's kind of neat. So yeah, I don't know. Morrow's Photo, aka the Morrow's Edge. I'm your host, Dr. Morrow, Ph.D. in Public Policy Administration, Terrorism, Mediation, and Peace. I taught political science for Howard College and Angelo State University. I taught AP History and Government at Central when San Angelo ISD for my with my master's, and then went to Howard and then went to ASU. I taught political science for both places, and then I taught criminal justice and security studies for Angelo State University. I worked there for about 10 years, and then during COVID, we transplanted over here towards Austin, and we're down here in New Braunfels. And I have been working on my book, helping my wife doing some on with her company, Publishology, which I consider myself a publishologist because I work on everything between photography, audio, video, books, articles, children's books. I've done a lot of children's books as well. And because we just like to get people's voices heard. That's one of the things about me is I like no matter who you are, where you're from, I want, if you have a vision or a voice or a message to get out, I want that to be heard. And so I enjoy helping people with that. So Trump's over here on the right of my screen here and shaking hands and all the different people. There's one lady that's dressed in black. I think it's his chief of staff of the White House. Not the lady Susan, but the I don't remember her last name. But there's another lady. I got to figure out who this lady is because she seems to be helping Trump go from play. Everywhere he goes, that she's keeping it like leading him to where he needs to go next. But I think it's the head cabinet lady. Now they're showing Jill and Biden, um, Joe and Joe and Jill. I'm not used to saying that. Biden's leaving. I guess I think this might be from earlier when they were departing in the Air Force One. Yeah, it's kind of neat. So yeah, I would in political science it's really neat because you get to study the different history of the presidency, and I like looking at that because things have changed throughout time. You can correlate different presidencies with different times of history that things have happened. And when you study, like, who's the president, or who was the Secretary of State, well, who was the Department of Justice, who was, whatever the situation is, you want to look at the cabinet members of that president to see how things was articulated in that administration. I don't know if articulated is the right word to use, but how things went in that administration. And when we look at um, well, when I build up and I talk about, Washington, Abraham Lincoln, you have different key presidencies and key moments depending on if I'm teaching the history of America or if I'm teaching political science. But we'll work our way up through the presidencies. And one of the things I like to talk about is how President Reagan, Ronald Reagan, actually um, took on communism as an actor, and his other actors and himself. There was the Red Scare, and they had communism going in and out of the arts and science, well, not arts and sciences, Hollywood and all that with the actors. And then so he started being a voice against communism with his acting career, with being a part of the what do they call that? I forgot the name of the organization, but he was like the president or the speaker of their Actors Guild, and spoke out against communism in acting and trying to take it on back then. And then worked when he became president. That was the thing that he worked on again was communism and fighting against that with Russia. And when the Berlin Wall fell down and all that is because of some of the things that Reagan and our government did leading up to that. I know it's a little bit more complex than that, but it's neat to think about Reagan as a young person or younger person taking on communism as an actor and then taking on communism again as a president and how those things correlated throughout his life. Okay, soon President Trump to sign executive orders. Like I've said that twice. They're showing his son mingling around with the people at one of the parties there. His son is like 6'9". Barron Trump. Yeah, it's the cabinet members and all that, and his family, like a dinner party. Oh, Justice Thomas. Oh, to be mingling with those people and just to get to meet them and just to see, because you hear all this stuff in the social media, you hear all this stuff in the news, you have a lot of people that hate. Um, it would be neat to be able to chum out with some of them and visit and talk and just, oh, there's John Cornyn over there, our one of our senators for Texas. And you got Mark Zuckerberg back there, Bernie Sanders. Our tax dollars at work, y'all. Oh, it would be neat to be there. And I'm not just saying that because of the Republican Party. It would be neat to be part of the administration or the American government awesomeness. The history of America. That's oh, it'd be neat to be part of that. And I know I live not too far from Texas, the capital there in Austin, you know, but there's just something about not the authority, but the connection of being a part of the system of, well, I don't know, the honor of the history of our government. I don't know. I've always had a, I've been a firefighter, been a cop, you know, I've done different things to play a role in some of that of government and how our structure was found, you know, how our country was founded and all that. If you ever have any questions, the way I'm kind of doing this right this second, just kind of rolling with it because I'm watching the news live and I like discussing it as it goes. But if you have any questions, comments, please send them to Professor Shawn Morrow at gmail.com. Professor Shawn Morrow at gmail.com. Now they're showing RFK Jr. kind of being bored to death. Looks like him and his wife sitting there at a table talking to these people, kind of like looking like they're waiting to go to work and they're tired of just sitting there. Looks like Biden and his wife addressed some people. Let me see if they're showing or letting you listen to it.
Before, no president gets to choose the moment they enter history, but they get to choose the team they enter history with. We chose the best damn team in the world. You know, because of you. I mean this sincere from the bottom of my heart. Because of you, we got so much done for all Americans. I look down there, my Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, and cheated on me by his wife who worked for his version. Look, I only hope to look back on these years. I hope you look back on them. The same pride I have of all you've done. You know, I'm proud of is that you did it upholding the core values of honesty, decency, and integrity. I mean, no scandal. I mean, it's incredible what you did.
Jill's popping him on the
Represent
leg.
the best of who we are as Americans. That's not a joke. That's real. I've already relied on your ideas, resolve, and counsel. We also relied on your families. To all your families, thank you, thank you, thank you for the sacrifices you made. I mean it. For being part of this journey. Every day, I'm deeply moved by all we all did for this country. I really mean it. History's going to mark down just what you did. You know, but the point I want to make today is to make clear my farewell address as we all
He's really slurring pretty bad.
we have a lot more to do.
Not being disrespectful.
We heard the inaugural address today. We got a lot more to do.
Oh, he just went like this.
I know from many years of experience, they're up and downs, but we have to stay with it. My dad taught me the measure of a person, you heard me say it before, is how quickly they get back up when they get knocked out. That's what we have to do right now. We've always done our best as Americans. We never, never, never give up. Never. We're leaving office. We're not leaving the fight. You're smart. You're skilled. You're passionate.
You're trying to
We need you again.
still keep that base fired up. You know, let's
Engage as long as you
keep
can. Whether it's in public service, the private sector, philanthropy, academia, running for office yourself, or anything else you choose to do. I give you my word, we believe in you. We, Jill and I, our family, believe in you. Just as I've said, of the walls we enacted, our seasons are going to grow and bloom for decades to come. I say that to you as well. I have no doubt you'll make this experience and take the friendships you made to continue to do amazing things for decades to come. That's why I see a future all leading the way by you all. You know, so take some time to decompress, reconnect with your friends, spend more time with your family, but most of all, take care of yourselves and each other. I mean it. Let me close where I began. My sincere gratitude. I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. I've been doing this for 50 years. You're the best group of people. Hard to say it's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. And I tell you what, a greater honor is being able to serve with all of you. You're incredible. You really are. You really are.
All right. So as Biden and his family leave Washington about an hour before the inauguration, um, there was an executive order. It says executive, I don't think this is true. Executive grant of clemency, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, to all of whom, I'm not going to read the whole thing. But anyways, it says James B. Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, Valerie Biden Owens, John T. Owens, Francis W. Biden, all full and unconditional pardon. But it says January. Oh, okay. Period of January 1st, 2014 through this date of this pardon. So he's true, and I don't know if it's true because I thought the pardons actually had a number to them. But anyways, if this is true, then the Biden pardon is pretty much the family that was all involved in whatever's going on. Now, you could say that, well, maybe there'll be a witch hunt from the other side, or maybe there'll be a witch hunt later on down the road. So let's cover our tail now. Um, but also, the way that history has always said before, of course, I know that things are changing, but they said that if um, you only need a pardon when you've done something wrong. So I don't know how that works. All right. Well, our time is up today. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and I look forward to breaking some more of this down as new beginnings happen. Y'all have a good day. Adios.